And here we go. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Awesome. Always have technical difficulties. Okay, so I'm just going to, there we go. All right, so the topic for today is saying no. So pretty much thought of this is something a lot of us struggle with. Maybe some of you are better than others at saying no. However, it is a concern. Most people kind of have that in the back of their mind. Do I say no? Do I not say no? But in this sense is learning to say no when you have a lot on your plate. So as students, as professionals, as family members, we have a lot of responsibilities, and sometimes saying no will help us. And sometimes not a lot of us actually say no when it could actually help us. So that's what we're going to be speaking about today. So just to introduce myself, my name is Alicia Frederique. My cute little picture I have on the side is like the only picture that has my face really. But pretty much my name is Alicia. I'm an intern here at the HCCC EOF program, and I am earning my master's in clinical mental health at Kean University. Something fun about myself is I love arts and crafts. Anything I can get my hands into is crocheting, sewing, knitting, woodworking, playing music. I tried to figure everything out. Anything that keeps me occupied with creativity. So that is a little bit about me. All right, so I'm going to start this off with a scenario. So I put a scenario here so that we can kind of discuss and figure out what's our first initial response if this scenario were to happen in real life. So starts off as you are busy with schoolwork and you have a lot on your to-do list. A friend asks for a favor because they feel you are the best person to help. You understand your friend wants you to help, but you have some very important assignments to take care of. You know that your friend can ask someone else. So with this scenario, I'm putting it out there for what would you guys do in this situation? So if your friend came to you and asked you for a favor, you know you're really busy, you have a lot to do, what is your first response to your friend?
I would just say no, just because you're very busy and you have to, do what you have, what's more important than hanging out with your friends.
Okay.
For me, I would say like maybe check my schedule. Like there might sometime I could check it because the last time I asked my friend for her help, and like we like talked it out, and she told me when to give it to her when I finish, so I could submit it on time.
All right, both are great. I mean, you let them know, hey, let me check my schedule, or flat out just say no. If you can't do it, you can't do it. So that was our gut reaction to this. And let's go through different ways to do this. So option one would be say yes because you feel bad if you say no, but then you'll feel miserable after when you have to go back and fulfill those other responsibilities. So that's an option. Option two, one of you said, just say no, and you may feel bad about it. Yeah, we don't like saying no. Obviously, it's our friend. They asked us a favor, and you're like, dang, I didn't want to say no, but yeah, I had to say no. Or option three, just say no, and you don't feel bad about saying no. So when you mentioned, I'll just say no, this is kind of where we want to be at in our ability to say no. Yes, there's those times where we may feel guilty. Yes, there's that time where we just say yes because that's our friend and we can't say no to our friend. Or if it's a family member, it can go either way. But if you know you have something that you need to take care of, the best option would be to say no, and you shouldn't feel bad about saying no. So, how do I say no and not feel bad for saying it? Why do people feel bad for saying no? So, we're going to discuss a few of these things. So, some of the reasons why people avoid saying no is saying no may seem aggressive. If someone, your friend or family member, were to ask you, "Hey, I need your help with something," and you know you're busy, one of the feelings would be, I have to say yes, because saying no may feel as though I'm rejecting that person or I'm coming off aggressive, like, no, I can't do this. But in reality, it's really not you being aggressive. May make you feel like a villain. So this example would go for parents. It reminds me of some family members or coworkers, people I know who are parents, and they have that one parent that says no to everything, and then there's the other parent that says yes to everything. And they're like, "You're making me out to be the villain, or you're making me out to be the bad guy." Saying no kind of always puts that connotation on it, like, "Oh, you're saying no, you never say yes." And that's one of the reasons why people generally don't say no.
I've been in those positions so many times with my parents that my mom looks like the bad guy and she's always like, I thought we were a team. I'm like, I'm always gonna listen to the one that says yes, because technically that's the permission.
See, good example. It happens. All right, letting someone down. So this one gets a lot of people, especially me. I I say no, or I try and then I say yes because I don't want to let this person down, especially my family members. If they ask me for something, it's just like, I'll do anything for you. Even if I'm just pile high in paperwork, I'll still say yes. But if I said no, I would feel like I'm letting down this person, that they came to me in their time of need and I wasn't able to help them, or I said no. And in reality is I'm swamped with work or I have other responsibilities and I might not be able to help them at that time. I'm not really letting them down. It's just I can't help you at that moment. So that's another reason why people tend to say yes, because they don't want to let down somebody. They want to be that reliable person. They want to be that helpful person. And by saying no, you kind of threw that off a little bit. Feelings of guilt. So that goes along with letting someone down, that feeling of, oh my gosh, I said no, especially like, for example, there's a child at my job where they wanted a cookie and the mother said no, and then the baby had a little sad moment. I say baby, but they're like 5 years old. They had the sad moment, the little pouty face, the tears, and you could see the mother looking like, oh my gosh, I said no to my child. That feeling of guilt. But she may have had her reasons for telling her child no. Maybe they're gonna have sweets later. Maybe the child had too many sweets. So you always have that feeling of guilt for making that decision to say no. However, that's just one of those feelings, one of those reactions when we say no. And as I mentioned before, you may feel as though you're being seen as uncaring or unhelpful. So saying no, it's like, I don't care about your feelings or I don't want to help you, when that's not the case. They came to you, they asked for a favor, and you told them no, and then they look at you like, oh my gosh. And it's just like, no, I want to be here to help you. And you kind of have that personal feeling of maybe I'm not a caring person or I'm not helpful, when that's not the case. As we mentioned before, we are students, we are scholars, we are coworkers, we are parents, we have so many roles that we can't do everything all at once, and we have to pick and choose the things that we can handle. So it's not that you're uncaring or unhelpful, it's just you have to prioritize some of your responsibilities. So the result is you help to avoid the possible reasons previously mentioned. So, as I said before, all of those things, feelings of guilt, feeling as though you're the villain, feeling as though you're uncaring or unhelpful. These are some of the reasons why people say yes. And then, yeah, you're stuck. You have an extra thing on top of all the other things that you need to take care of. So, how do I say no? Don't use an excuse. So, this is where when someone comes to you and they ask you for your help and you're like, "Oh, I'm busy at the moment," or "I have something else I have to do," or what was it? "I have to go take care of the kids," or "I have to pick them up from something," or you have your friend call you, especially blind dates. Have someone there just in case things don't work out. Don't use an excuse. Excuses leads to openings. So, for example, "I like to help, but I'm really busy." If you say that, someone can come back going, "Well, since you're busy this week, how about next week?" You made an excuse for this week, but they found an opening for next week. So now you're hit with the double no, where you have to say no this time and then no the next week. They're going to keep asking you, and you go into this vicious cycle of how do I say no when you could have just said no in the very beginning. So have any of you experienced this problem before? Pretty sure some of you have.
I have, especially with family members. Like it's like, you put an excuse and then it's it's like, oh man, they can ask me again the next time. What I put myself in this situation, this gets worse. But it's because it's like I said, afraid of how the other person's gonna react, and afraid of just like letting them down. But yeah.
Yeah. So one thing, don't use excuses.
Yeah, similarly, the term that you used, the double no, it's so true because like, you make up one excuse and they're like, oh, then how about next week? Or how about this time or that time? And puts you back in that same situation where you have to say no again. So the double no, that's very true.
Yeah. And you're sitting there like, oh man. And you have to double the feelings, possibly the double feelings of guilt. You said no now, and then you got to say no again. Or that feeling of I'm not caring or I'm unhelpful because I said I can't right now, but then they asked if I'm available next week and I'm possibly not available next week. Now I got to tell them sorry, no. So it can lead to many, many things. All right, how to effectively say no. So we're going to give you some examples on how to pretty much say no. So simply say no. As one of you mentioned earlier to that scenario, you literally just say no. This is not making excuses. So you don't make any excuses. You don't stall. So you don't say, oh, I'm busy right now. And then someone comes with that open, well, what about next week? You don't stall it. You can provide a small explanation if you want to, but you don't have to. Like sometimes less is more. Just simply saying no, leave it at that. So that's one way of doing it. Be firm but nice. So in this sense is maybe saying no bluntly may not work for everyone. Maybe that's not something that you feel you're able to do. So being firm but nice is another way to say no. I'm sorry, I can't help right now, but I'll let you know when I can, when and if I can. So someone mentioned before, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Let me check my schedule. That's a way of being firm, but also being nice. So this pretty much changes the power level. I always say power level. So a friend or family or whoever's asking for a favor, they're coming in with a asking you, and you're pretty much on the receiving end going, can I help this person or not? Now they have that power over you going, well, are you going to help me or not? I need your help. I need you to help me with this. By pretty much saying you'll let them know if you're available, lets this person know that you're busy and that you have to handle your other priorities first. So that way they have that understanding of, okay, they can't help me at this moment. And you said it nicely. You didn't just go no, or you said some other thing that may not be nice, but you're letting them know that, hey, I'm unavailable at the moment. I'll let you know when I am. Now, understand pressure. So this one, I put an example, especially during the holidays. There's always charities going on. Charities are wonderful. It helps bring opportunities to everyone. But sometimes you may not be available to donate at the time. Maybe you have other things that you need to look over first before donating. But in this example, I put, if you're at the grocery store at a shop and you go to the cashier and either on the pin pad or they have all these stickers everywhere that has like $5, $1, $3, and the cashier asks you, would you like to donate to this cause? Pretty much, well, a lot of people usually donate $5 or they donate $1 for this cause and they let you know about the cause. And in your mind, you're going, well, maybe I can't afford it at the moment, or I don't want to. That's maybe something I want to donate something else. Any reason you may have to not donate, with the person telling you or the cashier telling you, well, more people donate $1, it's them pressuring you to donate. And you have to understand that you don't have to buy into that pressure. So sometimes you can just say, or like I usually say when I'm there, I'm sorry, not at the moment. There you go. You said no, you said it nicely, and don't buy into that pressure because maybe you don't want to. There's other reasons you have. So that is something to understand, is to understand what's being pressured onto you. I'm pretty sure a lot of you have run into this scenario before.
Yes,
Yeah.
I went to New York. There's like this guy, he offered me a free his remix, something like that, like a disc. And if you want me to donate money to him, I only can give him $1 because I mean that's the only money I have. But I mean I have other money too, but at the same time I don't want to give him all my money to him. So I said I only have $1.
You see, you have that understanding. You understand, okay, that's all I have, and I'm not gonna donate more to this, but you have that understanding. So that's a good thing to have. All right. Setting boundaries. So this one is very important because if you don't set boundaries, that just allows everything to run amok. There's no guidelines, there's nothing keeping things where you essentially want them to be. So with this, I ask that we evaluate our relationships. So this could be relationships with our family, the different roles that we have in our family, at our jobs, as co-workers, as employees, as bosses. What are our roles? And then by understanding these roles, we have an understanding of what consequences may be from saying no. So as a parent, maybe if you say no to the child, such as the example with the child with the cookie, maybe saying no is going to cause a child to have a little tantrum at the moment, but you understand your role as the parent, that I'm the parent, I'm purchasing the food. I said no because maybe I have other plans, or maybe you can't handle sweets. Understanding that relationship and that in your role in that relationship allows you to plan your A, B, C, D, and so forth as to what can happen if you say no. This one's my favorite, reversing the question. So remember the scenario with the friend asking for the favor. Very much with this is letting them know you're busy at the moment and you won't be available until this time. So if they go, hey, I need your help tomorrow and I need this to be done, and you're kind of like, well, tomorrow I'm busy. You can go, well, tomorrow I'm busy, but I'm going to be free once finals or midterms is over, and that's a week from now. You're letting them know when you're available. You reverse the question that, yes, I'm not available at the moment, but this is an available time. Will this work for you? And that way it reverses it and puts it on them to go yes or no. So you've presented them with an opportunity, and if they want to take it or not, that's on them. this one is pretty obvious, but sometimes it gets hard. I'm not gonna lie. Stand by your no. So if you make the decision to say no, and that's honestly how you feel, stick by your decision. If the person you said no to isn't willing to accept that decision, then the problem lies with them, not with you. You've presented your decision and that's it. They can't change your mind. If you don't want to, then you don't want to. So that's why I say don't feel pressured to change your mind. Stand by your decision, know your roles. That way, when you make that decision to say no, it's no. That's it, plain and simple. Be selfish. So the word selfish in itself, everyone's like, oh, selfish. You're so selfish. It has that negative connotation to it where everyone's like, you're so selfish. But in these days and times, time itself is a hot commodity. And having that time to yourself to take care of your needs is not selfish to me, because if you said yes, then you wouldn't have time for yourself. You would start getting tired. You may have too many responsibilities. It can affect your sleep. It can affect your stress levels. And in the long run, it's not good for you in the end. So by saying no, you're taking care of you first. You're acknowledging that you are important. Your needs are, they need to be met. And it's not selfish in that sense. I guess if someone's like, you're being selfish, you're being selfless in a sense. You're looking about yourself, you're taking care of yourself so that you are in top shape, so that if someone were to ask you again, you can actually help them because you have your stuff together. All right, so this one is where I like to play around with saying no. So this one I actually I actually asked a few people what are their ways, what are some of the funny ways they've heard someone say no. So some people just say plain and simple, no, nope. One person did the X, no, 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 no. Thanks, but no thanks. Ask me in a year, nah. How are how are you able and willing to pay? That's my sisters. They are very bargain. They like to bargain a lot. Parents, into the O, or my father's favorite is, let me think about it. No. So do you guys have any examples of funny ways to say no? Think of something your parents may have said in that term of you ask them for something and you're like, can I do this? Well, obviously there's the no, but what were
My
some of the
mom,
funny ones?
my mom, she'll be like, "Ha, you're funny," or like something like that,
That's a good one.
like just laughing at my face.
That's a good one. Anyone else? You're thinking of funny examples. Think of an example maybe one of your friends said to you, your parents, someone said no, and it may not have been straight up no, but you caught the understanding that that's a no.
With some of my friends, I just give them a look and they know it's no.
Yeah, that works too.
I just give them a look and they're like, fine.
Yep, there's a look, especially there's those looks that you just, they look at you before you even ask the question. Okay, let's go to the next one. So here are some nice examples to say no. I thought of this one because we are professionals, we are scholars, we're students, and obviously we can't go back to this and just go, nah, that's probably not the best way. I mean, you can if you want to, but considering your role, what would be the best approach at saying no? So nice examples would be, regrettably, I'm not able to. That's, you're showing your feelings behind it. Regrettably, I just can't. Maybe you do regret it, maybe you don't, but putting that out there makes the other person receiving it go, well, okay, they can at the time, that's fine. Or you're so kind to think of me, but I can't. You're still placing it on that person. You're letting them know that you can't, so it's a no. But you're complimenting that person of, wow, you came to me to ask for help. That's so nice of you. Unfortunately, I'm not available at the time. So that's another way of doing it. Same thing. Thanks for thinking of me. They put some thought into it. Possibly they didn't, but they came to you and they asked you for your help. They were thinking about you. Maybe they thought you're the best person for to ask, and you're still saying no, but you're putting it nicely. This one, I'm learning to limit my commitments. In the sense of this whole group right now, we are learning to say no in this way is I'm learning to limit my commitment. So yes would be a commitment. No, you're limiting your commitment. So this way, you're saying no. I am not able to set aside time at the moment. So, or the time needed. So maybe they're asking for help and you want to say yes, but then when you look at it, you go, I don't have enough time to maybe effectively do the job, or I have other things I have to do. So if you were to say yes to this person and then you have to turn around and go and do something else, you're cutting that person short. You've made that commitment and it can lead to other things, possibly you feeling as though you're not helpful or you're not caring of this person's needs once you made that commitment. So if you see that, hey, I can't set a time aside, you can put that in there. I'm not able to set aside the time needed. I'm sorry. No. Simple. And that will end my sharing. You guys have any questions?
No,
Not a
but I
question.
do. Oh,
Okay, I'm sorry. Go
sorry.
ahead.
No, thank you. I do like your tips about like different ways how to say no because I'm very blunt, and I feel like I shouldn't be like that. I feel like there is many different ways how to say no, like the way you were explaining. And now I feel like I'm gonna use those tips just because I'm very direct, like how I said before, like I will just say no. But then at the end of the day, I feel like I'm hurting the person, but I have things to do. But now I could do it in funny ways or just different ways to say it.
Yeah. So you're still getting your feelings and your thoughts across. The answer is no. And if you feel you're a little blunt about it, making it sound a little nicer, not hurt the person's feelings in a sense. That can definitely work.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, I think we've all been in the same position where we feel bad for saying no, but I feel like um, a lot of those feelings are a bit internalized, right?
Hmm.
Um, and even sometimes irrational because you're so afraid of hurting somebody's feelings. But sometimes, a no is just a no, and people will usually understand. And if you're saying no in a nice way, like Alicia presented, as well as offering some sort of honest reason, then we shouldn't feel bad for saying no. Like we shouldn't
Yeah.
have to internalize those feelings.
Especially if you want to put the explanation behind it, um, then you can. Maybe that'll help the person understand. But by saying I'm busy with schoolwork or I have this other commitment that is important or that I can't change. And by providing the explanation, then the person knows, oh, okay, this is why if you want to place that behind there, but you don't have to. It's only one of those things if you want to. Um, as Wilson mentioned, also sometimes we do have those feelings of um, guilt, and sometimes the person knows this, especially people who are close to you. They know if they keep asking, maybe you'll say yes. And that's where setting those boundaries and standing by that no, it'll kind of set a new boundary or teach the person that is interacting with you that, okay, they say no, then it's a no. And by continuously doing that, it earns you, I always say it earns you brownie points in my mind, brownie points in the sense that when you do say yes, they're like, oh my gosh, they said yes. Instead of you always saying yes. And then when you say no, it's like, why do you say no? You always say yes. So there's a different aspect of it in that way as well. And that by you're pretty much preserving yourself when you're saying no, and that person just knows, okay, well, they said no, but then if they ask you and you're like, yeah, I actually have the time, they're like, oh my gosh, this is great. You can help me. And it puts it in a different tone. So, guys have any other questions?
I like the part when you said yes and no when saying no. Also because when the pandemic starts, I had to take care of three of my well, two of them my cousins and one of them my brother.
Mhm.
And you kind of got along, but one of them, like one of my cousins, she speaks too much. She don't listen to me sometimes, and also like it's hard for me to concentrate in class at that time.
Mhm.
And then later I told my aunt that I cannot take care of her daughter anymore, and like sometimes my parents pressure me like to take care of her because they said, oh, you take care of her because she's your family, and even when you have your own kids, they're gonna take care of her too. At the same time, I don't want to because it's too much for me, and I can't concentrate in my class.
Okay, so you said that you during the pandemic you had to take care of some of your family members, your cousins and your brother, and that one of your cousins wasn't very mindful to what you were saying, to the point that you said, I can't take care of her anymore. But you felt pressured by family to take care of her because of the reason that she's family.
Yeah, but at the same time, I still say no. Even my aunt understand me, so I just stopped taking care of her. That's all.
Okay, and that's a good thing to know that you have that understanding for yourself and that you set a boundary with your family that I she's doesn't listen to me. She's not paying attention when I'm trying to take care of her, and that I don't feel that I should take care of her, especially you're a scholar, you are working, you're doing a lot of things, and to have that as a stressor, mm, you had to say no. Well, that was good. Congratulations. All right. Anyone else have an example of them saying no? Kimberly?
Back to what you were saying before, I feel like in the pandemic, a lot of us always had to, well, not most of us had to say no for a lot of things. Like for my job, it was still open, but I said no because it's that, well, I used to work at a private spot, but so many people used to come, and my job, people were getting sick and they still never closed it. And they were like, oh, come in, we need covers. And I've always said no because I live with my grandma and I can't risk it. So I feel like during the pandemic it was always a no with me, and some people understood, of course, and then some weren't, like, okay, but this is just like, it's just for one day. I'm like, no, but you never know what that day there's going to be, that one person, employee or a guest that is sick and could harm other people.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Especially during the pandemic, a lot of places were shutting down, some places weren't. And for you to understand that I'm not comfortable and deciding to say no, if they understood, then they understood. If not, then that was on them, because you still provided that no, you stood by your no, and you had valid reasons, and you're taking care of a
Yeah.
family member.
Exactly.
So that was good.
Thank you.
I see another name, Zara. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'm sorry.
Yes, that's me.
Hi, do you have any examples?
Sorry, can you say again, please? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Do you have an example of when you said no?
When I said no, I received no.
So like earlier, if you said no to someone asking you for a favor, you have an example of that?
Most of the time, I try to do my best to say yes. On that time, I felt like someone. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
If I feel that someone really need something from me, I try to do my best to not say no.
Okay. Well, that if that works for you by being helpful, do you know your boundaries? And if you're able to say yes because you're able to help them, then that's perfect. All right. Anyone have any questions regarding what we talked about today? All right. Well, there's 3. So if you can put your name in the chat so that way we have noted that you're here. That way I can take attendance that way. And thank you so much for coming and talking about the 2-letter word, no. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, please, you can email me. I'm going to put my email in the chat. That way, if you have any questions or if you would like me to send the PowerPoint possibly for you, I can do that for you. And let me put this in there. If not, then thank you so much for attending and have a wonderful rest of your day and the rest of your week. Yes, I could
Thank you
send you
so
the PowerPoint. You're welcome, Kimberly. So I'll
Take
make
care,
a
everyone.
note. I'll make a note to send it to you, Lisa, okay? All right, Zara, you also want it too? Okay, so I will send it to both of you. I'm just writing a note so that way I know who to send it to. And alrighty. If you don't have any questions or anything, thank you so much for coming. And I shall see you guys another time, okay?